At the start of the 1960s, Mao, the leader of the People's Republic of China, was worried that the country was sinking into lethargy. He saw backsliding and compromise everywhere. As a result, in the mid-1960s, he launched what was called the Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution. Appealing directly to intellectuals and members of the middle class, he hoped to re-galvanize a revolution which was otherwise going sclerotic. Mao said that he was taking aim at what he called the four olds: old ideas, old culture, old customs, and old habits. One of the results of this was widespread acts of iconoclasm or vandalism against the Chinese heritage. One exception to this is the Chinese manufactory at Jingdezhen that had been operating since the 15th century. Rather than being destroyed, instead Chinese porcelain was reappropriated for revolutionary purposes. Here, in a style that we call socialist realism, we can see one of Mao's followers, a student, who has been inspired by his message and has decided to go out and live in the countryside and to do forms of manual labour. We can see her loyalty to the party through her red star, but she's instead engaging with practical forms of transformation that are happening in the Chinese countryside. Another example of how deep the Cultural Revolution reached is this humble little matchbox. On the front, we can see students who've come together to sing revolutionary songs in praise of Chairman Mao, but if we look closely, we can also see that they're clutching his famous Little Red Book, the quotations of Mao Zedong, that was published in 1966. Taken together, these objects, I think, show an attempt to try and politicize everyday life in mid-1960s China, but also remind us of how far, to consolidate the first revolution, you might need to have a second one to bring it back to the boil.